masking happens because we all, as people, as a general population, we all mask, right? So it's called putting on a brave face for a lot of people, right? So how do you navigate late diagnosis in autism in a safe and protective way? Because you also have to take care of yourself whilst trying to talk about this to other individuals. What is going on, guys? Welcome back. My name is Dan and I am autistic, and I have done this work for many years helping coach autistic individuals one-on-one to help overcome these things, especially late diagnosed autistics. Now, I myself am late diagnosed autistic, and I was diagnosed at 26 years old. And at the time, I knew nothing about autism. And you fast forward to now, I'm 39 and I know so much more about autism. And now I'm able to help individuals on the spectrum become more unmasked and navigate their life from a late diagnosis. But what does that all mean? And I'm breaking it down into two parts. The first part is safely unmasking, and we'll get into that just in a minute. And the second one is like how to handle self-hatred. I know it sounds crazy, but bear with me here. Because a lot of autistic individuals, when they have a long period of their time before they get diagnosed, they feel like there's something wrong with me. I'm at fault. Everybody, I'm so sorry. Everything's wrong. I've done something wrong here. And that's not the case. It should never be the case. And so we're going to go over that right now. So number one is basically how to safely be you without masking, or how to safely unmask. Now, masking is a term that people use in autism. And masking basically means kind of what it sounds like. You put on a mask to pretend to be somebody for society. But why? Why is this a thing? Well, masking happens because we all, as people, as a general population, we all mask, right? So it's called putting on a brave face for a lot of people, right? Like put on a brave face and just go out there and fake it, or fake it till you make it. And all of these terms are basically when somebody has to do something or be somewhere that they're not entirely happy with, and they have to be somebody else. So say you're really upset about something and you have children, right? But you still have to show up for your kids. So you can't just sit in the bed all day crying and kind of like showing your kids that you're having a terrible time. You have to kind of put on a brave face and mask and be like, oh, hey kids, don't worry about it. I'll deal with it later. Because that's what we do as protectors, as adults, as parents. And so masking is the same. Autistic individuals have spent their whole life trying to fit in. Now, and I know this is you, so if this is you, just give it a thumbs up. And by the way, guys, my name is Dan, and I also have a diagnosis of autism and ADHD, or audhd as we now call it. And so if you want to learn more about this type of stuff from me, just hit that subscribe button down below here on YouTube, or follow along on Facebook. Really appreciate it. Thank you. When we are trying to fit into society, when we're trying to kind of, okay, I need to do this, we pretend to be somebody else. We create a persona where we mask. And masking means that we are living in a life that we expect other people to find normal. And by normal, I mean just average. But we do this because our true self, our unmasked self, is somebody who is maybe hyperactive, talks too much, really interested in unusual things, not very talkative, not very social. You don't want to go out to parties. You don't want to go and drink. You don't want to, maybe take, a cigarette break with your fellow colleagues. And all of that makes you very unique to you, but everybody else, that makes you kind of like quite weird and outside of the scope of reality. So what we do is we pretend, we mask, we act, we put on a character. And it's really common for autistic individuals to do that. And actually super common in the females. The autistic females will more commonly be associated with masking. Male autistics don't mask as much, but they still do mask, or we still do mask. And how do we safely do this? How do we then, okay, so we know who we are, right? We are an autistic person who wants to not mask anymore. So how are we going to do this safely? And there's a very simple way. It's like, we don't need to do anything to prove ourselves to somebody else in terms of pretending to be somebody else. Because when we pretend to be somebody else, then we have to act like somebody else. And you're not somebody else, you're you, right? And so eventually this is going to become a detrimental experience to yourself, because you're like, I'm fed up for pretending to be Joe Bloggs who likes to go out drinking or likes to go parties and air hockey with my friends. Like, that's not you. Maybe you want to go home and read, or go to the library, or you want to study or watch documentaries. And so what tends to happen then is all of your energy is taken out, and then you burn out, right? And burnout means that you've used all your energy resources, you've used everything, and you're just like, oh, I'm completely flat. And when you're completely flat, you have no energy and you're useless to yourself, to anybody else. So unmasking safely, simply this. Choose. When you wake up, do I want to live for me, or do I want to live for other people? Because We are only living masked for other people. And it comes from a really good way of thinking about this. And I heard it from Gary Vaynerchuk, who's a YouTuber and an entrepreneur. He said, people will get in debt for a loan they can't afford, work in a job that they despise, to buy a car they can't afford to impress somebody they don't even like, which is true. And so every day that you're pretending to be somebody else just to impress people you're probably not even that fond of. And so I say to you, just take a step back when you wake up in the morning and say, no, if I don't want to go drinking and everyone asks me, hey, you coming to the pub after work? You say, no thanks. And that's it. If they're true decent people and they're really good friends, they will accept it and they'll accept you. And that's that. If they're not worthy of your time, then they'll be kind of quite pushy, maybe arrogant, like, no, you have to come. But if you stand your ground and you create healthy boundaries and say, no, I don't want to, actually. I'd rather go home and, dig into a puzzle or read a good book or watch a documentary. That's okay. And you're allowed to do that because you are you, and that's fine. Okay, so the second part is, how do you handle the self-hatred? Like, you've gone so many years of thinking, I'm weird, I'm wrong, I'm, outside of the scope of normality. And when you do this, you end up kind of not only thinking there's something wrong with me, but then you start to think that I'm wrong. I'm the wrong person in this scenario. Like, no other scope is ever going to be as good. Like, I can't fit into things. There's something wrong with me, that, I have maybe mental health issues, which maybe we do as well. But more importantly, it's because you've two things: masked most of your life, so you pretend to be somebody else, then you end up not liking that person that you have to be, right? And two, the true you don't have an answer for. And you're like, oh, there's something wrong with me, I'm wrong, and you'd always put yourself down. What happens, right? If you're constantly looking in the mirror every day and saying, like, oh, I'm useless, I'm this, I'm that, I'm stupid, I'm an idiot, like, I can't do normal things, well, it's going to make you feel that way as well. You're not just going to think it, you're going to start feeling it, and you're going to start believing it, which isn't the case. And then when you have a diagnosis later on in life, you're like, oh, it's kind of like a rush of knowledge. You kind of go, oh my goodness, it's not an excuse, but you understand now it's because of my condition. And that's a good thing. However, you are so used to just destruction, like, oh no, I'm no good, I'm this, that, and the other, that you're going to be stuck in that rut. So the first thing you have to do is, it's okay that you're different. Okay, we're all different. But autistic individuals, we are allowed to feel like, hey, it's okay if I don't want to go out to a party. It's okay if I don't want to do that. And it's okay if I have really weird interests. That's okay, as long as you're within the boundaries of the law, right? Not killing people. But like, if you're just into like collecting rocks or snails or whatever, that's okay. You now, from this point onwards, as soon as you know that diagnosis, you're late diagnosed autistic, you're pretty impressive. Like, you've survived this long without exterior help or support. Although you may not feel like you've thrived, the fact that you're still here is a testament to it. Because the older it gets, the older a person gets and the longer time gets on not having a diagnosis, the harder it is in life, right, to understand each other. So having that late diagnosis is kind of an aha moment, but it's a big rush and it's kind of sometimes a little bit difficult to deal with. Now, I do help people one-on-one with coaching and stuff, and I help people build confidence. Now, if you're really interested, I have a free confidence training program you can download completely free. You can watch it right now. Just go to www.bulletproofbrain.org right now, or click the link down below, and you'll get access to it. You can watch the training, and I'm really happy because that is going to be so good for you. So watch that, come back here and let me know on this video. Say, Dan, I did the free training. I've identified this in my life where I feel so much better, or it was a load of rubbish. Forget about it. Let me know, okay?